US oil as usual. So moving on to the chart, the first pair we're looking at as today, as usual, is the US oil. And what's happening here on the US oil? Remember what we said during the course of yesterday's live trading session, where we made emphasis on how important this key level is, the key level at $106.50. And we also made emphasis on this bearish trend line. You know, I gave two scenarios here on the US oil yesterday. That is, we want to see, we already saw this this bearish move, and we were expecting price to either respect either of those bullish trend line. And if that does not happen, if we see price move to the downside, we want to see price respect the key level or probably do a quick retest of that bearish trend line that you can see on your screen with the color black. And now, why is that bearish trend line very, very important? We can see in the past, this bearish trend line has been a major determinant of price action. Well, since the beginning of, since on the 14th of June, we saw how price has respected that bearish trend line. We can see the first touch was here on the 14th of June, after which we saw another higher low rather, and then price came down, and then we saw a breakout of that bearish trend line, giving us a sign that price is no longer going to respect that trend line, by setting the tone for a bullish momentum. So we had a breakout of structure here on the 27th of June. We had a breakout of structure here on the 27th of June, and from a technical perspective, after every breakout of either a bearish or bullish trend line, we normally expect price to come and do a retest of that trend line before we see a trend continuation to that direction of the prior leading price action. So now during the later part of the New York session yesterday, we saw price do a rejection of that area, do a retest of that key level at $106.50, then came back down into that bearish trend line one more time during the early hours of today, and since then we saw bullish engulfing candle that took price right back into the bullish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. So right now we have a scenario that could guide our actions going into the New York session. Now that we have a breakout of the 106.50 area, we want to be looking out for a retest of that area to give us a structure that will support a trend continuation to the upside. That is one scenario we're going to be looking out for. And then the second scenario is if price does not come into the key level during the New York session, and we see price climb above that bullish trend line, that is the trend line on the daily time frame. Let me show you what that means. Let's go back to the daily time frame so that we can see what I'm talking about here. So we have the bullish trend line here on the daily time frame, which has been respected since the later part of last year, and we can see how price has been respecting that trend line until we saw that breakdown, a little breakdown on the 22nd of June, and immediately price came back up, and then price came back down again one more time, and I'm expecting a bullish potential from this area to the upside. So I brought us back to the daily time frame so that for those who missed our analysis on Monday could actually see what bullish trend line I'm explaining. So let's go back to the 1 hour time frame where we are, and we can see that price is right on the bullish trend line that we identified on the daily time frame here. So one thing I've said is this: the first scenario is this: we want to look out for price to come back into the key level, where we look out for patterns on lower time frame that supports a trend continuation to the upside. Or if that does not happen, then we want to see a break above of that bullish trend line, where we look out for a retest of structure. It could be the retest of that bullish trend line, or price will come back down into the key level, where we look for patterns on lower time frame that supports a trend continuation to the upside. So one thing we want to hold on this is that the US oils, they have the tendency to go bullish from this point on the market. Now, heading to the New York session, what parameters are we going to be looking out for to guide our actions going forward? Like I already explained to you earlier, The 106.50 area appears to be one major key level that we will be using as a yardstick to guide a bullish momentum going forward. As if we see price come below this key level, we are not going to do anything, as we continue to wait for price to come back above the key level. We look for reversal patterns right above that key level, then we take advantage of the move to the upside. So one thing I won't be looking out for here on the US oil is a bullish momentum. However, if that does not happen, then we just wait and see how price plays out, and if it does not happen today, then it might happen next week. But going forward from this area, and based on the structure we're seeing in the market at the moment, it is looking bullish for us. So I want to delete this bullish trend line as it is no longer needed at this point, and we want to continue to wait for that structure to evolve into a retest. Then we look out for a confirmation in the form of a reversal pattern on our lower time frame. So this is my scenario here on the US oil, and I hope you understand what I've just explained so far. And if you think you need further clarifications, you can drop it in the comment section, where I will be willing to shed more light on this. "669, good morning." Okay, so that's that on the US oil. So let's move on to the UK oil.